Greetings, class, and welcome to our Dr. Davis Explains It All lecture for this lesson. Today, we will be discussing the wants and needs of employers in the digital age while also focusing on groups as a whole. So let's go ahead and jump in. What do digital employers want? Employers are typically interested in 4 key areas, and that's going to be education, experience, hard skills, or the specific knowledge and abilities required for success in a certain career, technical skills in your field. A few examples of that could be, if you have skills with computer programming or web design or typing or nursing, finance, electrical, accounting skills, writing skills, legal, or anything that would pertain to your actual field. And soft skills, or we also call these transferable skills, which can be used in many different types of careers. So a transferable skill is something that's not just specific to your field, but it can be applied to a lot of different careers that you might enter. So examples of soft skills are a little more broad than hard skills are, and examples might be oral or written communication, decision-making skills, the ability to be flexible, time management skills, leadership skills, the ability to be creative, to be a problem solver, to be a team player, to have appropriate nonverbal behaviors or even proper business etiquette and things like that. So they're a lot more versatile. Hiring managers expect you to have technical expertise in your field and know the latest communication technologies while also being really well versed in those soft skills that I just talked about. So those skills that can be really transferable to a lot of different career choices. However, long-term success will always depend on your ability to communicate well with your boss, with your coworkers, with your customers, your team members, and anyone else that you'll have to communicate with. So why do we form teams? I think this is a great question. In any professional environment, you will probably find yourself being a part of any of these teams that I'm about to discuss. So that might be a work team, a project team, customer support team, a supplier team, a design team, maybe a planning team, a functional team, or even a cross-functional team. So you might also be assigned to different kinds of groups, and that might be you might be on a committee or a task force that's set up to meet a specific goal. A steering group, maybe a quality control circle, a flat team, a hierarchical team, an advisory team, or even just an action team. And you can check all those out in your textbook because I really want to focus on a few other things that we're just about to discuss. That's going to be talking about the group development. So, of course, businesses are constantly looking for ways to better perform their jobs at less cost. Because of this, there are always going to be teams forming for a variety of reasons, and that might be to make better decisions in the workplace. Decisions are generally more accurate and they're just more effective because group members contribute different expertise and perspectives. So it makes for a better decision. They're also formed because of a desire for faster response. So when action is needed to respond to maybe outside competition from other businesses or just to solve a problem, small groups and teams can really help the company to act rapidly on things. Increased productivity can be another reason why groups are formed because they are often closer to the action, so to speak, and to the customer. Team members can see opportunities for improving efficiency, and so that's another reason why groups are often formed in the workplace. A greater buy-in. I like talking about that one because decisions arrived at between group members, between employees, are usually better received because the members of the group are committed to the solution and they're more willing to support it. And also less resistance to change. People who have input into the decisions, especially in like the company atmosphere or even in like the family atmosphere, when you have more input into the actual decisions that are taking place, they're generally less hostile, they're less aggressive, and they're less resistant to that change. So although groups are formed for a variety of different purposes, as we just discussed, teams normally go through predictable phases as they develop, and that's what we're really focusing on this week in our readings. So psychologist B.A. Tuckman identified 4 phases to group development, and that's going to be forming, storming, norming, and performing. So let's take a look at that real quick. Some groups get lucky and they move quickly straight from forming to performing. However, most groups struggle through disruptive although usually constructive, team building stages, and that's what we've got here. So it doesn't, in this diagram, you don't have to go from forming to storming, then storming to norming, and norming to performing. Some groups are just more efficient, and they go straight from forming to performing. Straight from, we'll say it this way because I know that's a really tongue-tie. They can move from number 1 straight to number 4. They don't have to go through the pull and tug of things. But for most groups, they're going to go in this order. So during this first stage, which is right here, is forming. During this first stage, team members get to know each other. Generally, team members are overly polite and they even feel a bit awkward. As they search for similarities and they attempt to bond with each other, they begin to develop trust in each other. And members discuss fundamental topics in this first forming stage, such as why the team is necessary, who owns the team. Although no one owns the team, we're talking in terms of leadership. Whether membership is mandatory in the team, how large the team should be, and what talents members can contribute to the team, because we all have specific skill sets that are better fitted for certain positions or roles within the team, so those things are often discussed here as well. So in this stage, in the forming stage, this first stage, the leader functions primarily as kind of like a traffic director. They resist the effort to dash through the first, or you want to try to, resist the efforts to dash through the first stages of this team development, and you want to try not to go straight from forming to the performing stage, because a lot of times going through each of these stages helps us to grow a greater bond and just be more cohesive as a group, which we also talk about in this lesson, building group cohesiveness. So during the second stage, which is storming, this is where members define their roles and responsibilities, and they decide how to reach their goals and how to iron out the rules governing how they want to interact with each other. So unfortunately, this stage often produces a lot of conflict, and you can kind of look in this area that I've got here. But it also it usually has a lot of conflict, and that is kind of why you can remember that word there. That's why it's called storming. So think of it as a storm of conflict. However, oftentimes a good leader can step in and set limits and control the chaos and offer suggestions. And in this, they need to try to act like a coach, and they want to avoid what we call negative policing. So you want to try to stay as positive as possible. Teams composed of dissimilar personalities, which happens a lot of times in the workplace, often they take longer to progress through this stage of storming, because tempers might flare, sleep might get lost, there's a power struggle going on. So storming most often passes, but it just takes a little bit of time. But when it does pass, cohesive groups emerge, and that's when we move to the norming stage. So once that storming phase passes, teams move on to the norming stage, in which tensions often subside, roles are clarified, and information begins to flow among the team members. The group periodically checks the group periodically checks its agenda to remind itself of its progress towards the goal. So there's a lot of checks and balances there. Formal leadership is not really necessary because everybody tends to take on the leadership functions by the time they make it to the norming stage. Important data is often shared with the entire group, and there's kind of like a mutual interdependence between each other because everybody's supporting each other and working together. In this stage, the group or the team begins to move slowly in one deliberate direction. So unfortunately, some teams never make it to this stage because they kind of die out in the storming stage due to the conflict. But for those that do survive the forming, the storming, and the norming, these first three stages, they make it to the final stage of performing. And that can be a really gratifying experience because not everybody makes it there. So group members have established routines by the time they get to the performing stage, and they have a shared language in this stage. So they understand each other. They develop a loyalty and a willingness to resolve all problems. They usually kind of have a can-do attitude. So very positive, as they progress towards their goal. Best of all, though, information flows freely, deadlines are met in the performing stage, and production exceeds expectations often. So you might be asking yourself, what is completed in these stages? Well, I'd like to kind of give you a short breakdown because I know what I just told you was kind of wordy. So a breakdown for each stage would be in the forming stage, you are selecting members for the group, you become acquainted with each other, you build trust, and you form a collaborative culture. So you begin to trust each other there. In the storming stage, we start to identify problems, we collect and share information, we establish decision criteria, and we start to prioritize goals. But again, there's a bit of a power struggle here. So if we make it out of this stage into norming, that's great. And in the norming stage, we discuss alternatives or ways to solve the problem or reach the goal. We evaluate outcomes, like we apply certain criteria that we've developed as a group, and we work to prioritize what we need to be doing at this point. And then we have that last stage. Hopefully we've made it there in the group, and we have performing. And here we select the alternatives we want to use. We analyze the way we want to apply our techniques. We implement a plan, and we really work to manage the project to ultimately achieve the goal. So I know that is a lot. And with that being said, I'd like to really just give you a real world example of how this would work in the real world. So now let's discuss an example of a team moving through each stage. A team has been pulled together from various parts of a large service organization to work on a new process improvement project that is really needed to improve how the company manages and supports its client base. So we've got this team, and they've decided to work together to meet a goal. So let's just say it that way. The team lead on this project is going to be called Sandra. And Sandra's from the Chicago office, and she has about 15 years of experience as a project manager and a team leader. So she's really has some great leadership skills. The other members from the team, aside from Sandra, who's the leader, we're going to say we've got Peter, who has 10 years of experience on various types of projects. He has experience scheduling and in budget control and things like that. We have Sarah. Sarah has 5 years of experience, and she is an individual contributor on projects. She's really good she has a programming background, and she has some experience also developing databases. And all of these individuals are located in different places, but I'll discuss that in a minute. We've got Tom. Tom has 8 years of experience working on various projects. He has expertise in earned value management, stakeholder analysis, and problem solving. Donna is an individual contributor on projects. She has 2 years of experience. And then Ariana has 7 years of experience, and she has a wide variety of background as well. She's worked developing databases. She has expertise in value management and a few other things. So with that being said, you might think, well, okay, all these people are going to be in one place, so it'll be really easy for them to work together as a group. Well, let's add another twist here. Sandra, who is the leader, is going to be from the Chicago office. Peter is going to be from San Diego. Sarah is from Chicago. Tom is from New York. Donna's from New York, and Ariana's from San Diego. So we've got people from all over the United States here. So Sandra, the leader, she's worked on projects with Sarah and Tom, but she's never really worked with any of the other people in the team. Donna has worked with Tom. No one else has worked with other members of the team, so everybody else is brand new. Sandra has been given a very tight deadline to get this project that they formed a group for completed. Sandra's the leader. Sandra's decided that it would be best if the team met face-to-face initially, even though they're going to be working virtually like we do in our classes. She's arranged a meeting at the New York office, which is the company headquarters, for the entire team to meet for one time, face-to-face. They'll spend 2 days getting introduced to each other and just kind of learning more about the project they're going to complete. All right, so let's enter the 4 development stages of groups, right? Okay, so the first stage that's going to be completed is the forming stage, and we've talked about that before. And I'm going to back up here so we can see as I go along. The forming stage. The day that they have the face-to-face meeting with each other in New York, that's when they start the forming stage. All team members are present, and the agenda includes a lot of different things that they want to cover. The team members are really excited to meet each other. Each of them has heard, they've heard of one another, although they've never really, some of them have never really worked together. They believe that each person has a value to bring to the team. So the team building exercises they've done to initially get to know each other have gone well. Everyone participated and they just really seem to enjoy the exercises. While there was some discussion about roles and responsibilities, because they're still in that they just met forming stage, and people start kind of looking towards taking on key positions. Overall, there was an agreement on what they needed to get done and who was responsible for particular components of the project. So the on-site meeting in New York went really well. The team's getting to know each other, and they've been discussing their personal lives outside of work, such as hobbies and family and so forth. And Sandra is thinking this is a great sign, and they're going to really get along. They're engaged with each other. They generally seem to like each other. So we're good at the forming stage, right? And then we enter the storming phase. And as I've already discussed, the storming phase has a lot more conflict. So the team members go back to their home offices in the various places, Chicago, San Diego, and so forth. And they begin to work on their particular part of the project. They're interacting using things like Skype and just any kind of web conferencing that they could do. And the project's off to a good start. And then the arguments begin because we are in the storming phase. So Peter has put up the project schedule based on the conversations that he had with Tom and Ariana, who are also team members. Donna and Sarah feel as if their input to the schedule was not even considered. They believe because they are more, they have less seniority on the team, Peter has completely disregarded their concerns about the timeline for the project. They challenged Peter's schedule, and they stated that it was impossible to achieve what he was asking, and they claimed that Peter was setting them up for failure. At the same time, Sarah was arguing with Ariana over who should lead the design project and the development efforts on the team. While Sarah acknowledged that Ariana has a few more years experience than she does in that type of work, she only agreed to be on this particular team and project if she could take the lead role and develop her skills further so that she could continue to advance the company and get a promotion. So if she knew that Ariana was going to be the lead, she wouldn't have even bothered joining the team. Additionally, Tom appears to be off and running on his own, not keeping the others apprised of progress, nor is he really keeping the information up to date through like their discussion boards they're having online and so forth. No one really knows what he's been working on. He's just kind of working individually. So we've got, at this point, as we can see, we're in that storming stage. And we've got people who are mad because of scheduling, that they didn't feel like their opinions were being considered. We've got individuals who are working independently. We've got some that said, if I wasn't going to be able to be the leader, I wasn't going to be on the team at all. So we've got a lot of conflict there. So Sandra, the team leader, had initially taken a side role during these exchanges, these conflicts, hoping that the team would kind of work it out on their own. However, she understands from past experiences of managing these kind of teams that it's important for her to take control and to guide the team through this difficult time because she is the leader. So she convenes all of the team members for a virtual meeting to reiterate their roles and their responsibilities, which they already agreed on in that forming stage when they were in New York. So she made some decisions since the team just couldn't come to agreements on certain things, and she determined that Ariana would lead the design team. She'd work closely with Sarah so she could further develop her skills like she wanted to. Even though Sarah doesn't get to be a leader, she still gets to develop those skills. She reviewed the schedule that Peter created with the team, and she made some adjustments so that Donna and Sarah would be a little more happy with things. And she reminded Tom that this is a team effort and that he shouldn't be working just individually. So Sandra's really pulling everybody together as a leader. Now, during the virtual meeting session, Sandra also referred back to the ground rules that the team had set in that face-to-face meeting in New York, and she worked with the team to ensure that there was a plan in place on how to make decisions and who's responsible for making those decisions. So over the next few weeks, Sandra really noticed the arguments and the disagreements were really lessening, and when they did occur, they worked out pretty quickly by the team and without a lot of involvement on her part. Still, though, she monitored how things were going. She held regular virtual meetings to ensure that the team was moving in the right direction. And on a monthly basis, Sandra brings the team together for a face-to-face meeting. That can be a virtual meeting, that works well too. So as the working relationships of the team members started improving, Sandra started seeing a lot more progress towards the team's ultimate goal, meaning that they finally pushed through that storming stage into the norming stage. So norming, we start to come a lot more into a safe zone here. So the team has now been working together for, let's say, about 3 months. There's definitely a sense of teamwork among the group. There are a few arguments and disagreements that can't be resolved without them just kind of discussing things. They've started to support each other in the project. They are making decisions as a team, they're solving problems, they're sharing information with each other, and really following the ground rules that they initially started in the forming stage. They're helping each other to grow in their skills as well. For example, Ariana has worked with Sarah, like she wanted to teach her a lot of the skills that she learned through that design and development that she wanted to learn more about to progress in the company. And overall, the team members are just becoming friends. They enjoy each other's company, both while working on projects and even after hours, using communications through email and instant messenger, Twitter, over the phone, whatever it is that you want to use. So they're really working together. And so because of that, they were able to move to performing. So the team is now considered a high-performing team, which is what we want of everyone in these types of environments. It wasn't easy to get to this stage, but they made it. They're working effectively as a group, supporting each other and relying on the group as a whole to make decisions on the project. They can brainstorm effectively to solve problems. They are highly motivated to reach the end goal as a group. And when there is conflict on the team, such as a disagreement or so forth, the group is able to work it out, and they are not relying on the leader to intervene and make the decisions for them. So they are just really coming together as a group. So Sandra checks in with the team, and she's praising them for their hard work and their progress. The team celebrates the milestones reached along the way, and when necessary, Sandra, the leader, provides a link from the team to the executives for decisions on what they need to do, if any kind of additional support is needed. So the project was finished on time, within budget. The milestones were met, and they even were able to do some ahead of schedule. The team is pleased with how well the project is going, and Sandra and the executives of the corporation are thrilled. So, at this point, the project's ended. It was a huge success. The internal customer was pleased with the ultimate product that they produced, and there's definitely a great working relationship there. Although there was a lot of ups and downs, the individuals on the project will be moving to other projects within the organization, but no one is going to be on the same project. They're really probably just going to miss each other because they've really developed a personal relationship at this point. So ultimately, the team was successful, and the team was able to accomplish their goals because they were able to move through these 4 stages of group development. So that being said, I hope that helps you to better explain how the 4 stages of group development can actually take place in the real world group environment. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. So otherwise, enjoy your week. Thanks for listening to Dr. Davis Explains It All. Thank you.